Hello everyone. In the second video, I'd like to just share some ideas as we go about our Lenten journey. As we know, we're invited to take up some spiritual practices during the 40 days of Lent. And the three traditional areas that we do that is prayer, fasting, and almsgiving. And again, it's kind of important for us to pick something that will really challenge us. And sometimes we might even fail in our resolution, and that's okay. Partly because it's also to teach us that we're not trying to just rely on ourselves, but we're trying to depend on God. So I had a holy priest tell us one time, if we aren't picking something that we probably would fail at least a few times during Lent, we're probably not picking something that's hard enough. So really something that might challenge us again. And the purpose is for us to grow in greater trust in the Lord and to make more space for God. And so, and that really is the purpose in the Christian life. We're not against good things in the world, but we're trying to make room for greater things, which is God's Holy Spirit and His presence in our life. And so prayer, fasting, and almsgiving. Some ideas with prayer. Certainly, we can pick up a Lenten devotion this Lent. We are going to have Lenten devotions available in the back of church, and those really kind of reflect on the daily Gospels for every day. And so that's a very helpful way. We can take 10 to 15 minutes each day and be able to reflect on the Gospels with the meditation that is offered. So we will make them available after Mass this weekend. Also, one can kind of do something extra. Maybe you can go to a weekday Mass. Maybe you've only gone to Sunday Masses and you've never been to a weekday Mass. So maybe attending a Mass on a Tuesday morning, or maybe on a Wednesday morning with the Mary Lord school students. Uh, Maybe it's trying to do a Eucharistic adoration hour, or spending a little time in Eucharistic adoration just to push our prayer a little bit more. Maybe it's praying the rosary on your way to work instead, turning the radio off and maybe praying your rosary. And so we can be very creative. It doesn't have to be something that's unattainable, but something that we can even bring into our normal routine. Certainly the rosary can be something you can pray as a family together, maybe on Sundays or together each day. Various families have various comfort levels with that, but something that will challenge us to pray together. Attending stations. We're going to be having Stations of the Cross on Fridays, and we'll be rotating around the different churches. And even the school is going to have stations on Fridays a few times. And so attending stations. Also, there are some really good apps out there, like the Hallow app, and they offer a lot of good series of podcasts or meditations for each day. It is a little bit of a cost, but there's just a generous amount of content that we can use for that. Maybe it's listening to relevant radio. Instead of listening to music, we can listen to relevant radio that kind of goes a little bit deeper with our Catholic faith. A lot of people have really found that helpful to listen to Catholic talk shows, and they learn so much about their Catholic faith when people are calling in and asking questions about Lent or questions about confession or the Eucharist and so forth. So those would all be, maybe it's just silence for 10 to 15 minutes, maybe just observing a little more silence in our lives. That could be a place where we can grow. Father Patrick always had a good idea of doing something daily, weekly, monthly. So doing something daily, weekly, coming to Mass on Sunday, of course, and then monthly going to confession. And so maybe this is the time for us to really kind of get into that rhythm with those things. So that's prayer. Fasting. Fasting is a kind of a way for us to grow in self-discipline so that we're always ready to do the right thing. We often think right away of food, and certainly that's very legit. We can give up something like sweets. We can give up coffee or caffeine. I know that's a tough one. And we can give up alcohol or drinks and so forth. That would be something we can give up. But we can also think of other things that we could maybe refrain from. Maybe it's we're going to do less media consumption. Maybe we're not going to spend as much time on Facebook. Maybe we're not going to watch YouTube videos during Lent. If that's something that we're really kind of addicted to, or we're just really attached to, that would be a great space for us to say, you know what, I'm not going to do that. Maybe fill it in with something different, something that's more maybe it's refraining from hitting the snooze button in the morning. That can be a tough one too. And saints have said that's actually a really good discipline. That first victory that we're called to is when it's time to get up, we get up and we move on. But there's been other things too. I've done Exodus 90 before with other people, and they've done things like maybe take a cold shower. during Lent. Cold showers. It's very healthy, although it's a little tough. Maybe refraining from music that doesn't lift us up. Maybe you can listen to things like Christian music or chant or something, but maybe not for secular music and so forth like that. Maybe refraining from big purchases during Lent. That would be something that we could do. Another one could be fasting from negativity or fasting from gossip. Those would be things that we could fast from too. So, or maybe fasting from eating between meals. So those are just a bunch of ideas that we could do for fasting. And again, it just helps us to build up self-discipline. And then finally, almsgiving. Almsgiving, our ability to reach out to those in need. Ultimately, this is about love. This is about us being more compassionate towards others. Maybe this is a time where we can make it a point where we're going to visit people in the nursing home. Um, Maybe we're going to contribute to the rice bowl. We have these rice bowls that we'll be giving out to people, and you can make a donation to that. Maybe helping out at the local food shelf or Oasis, or maybe just taking some time to volunteer. Those would be good things. Saw one idea online, which was kind of neat, is maybe each day we can write a letter to someone that encourages them. So maybe one day we write a letter to grandma, another day we write a letter to a coworker, and each day we write a letter that's going to somehow really encourage someone, or to say, you know what, we're thinking about you, or I'm praying for you. So those are some ideas. In addition to, of course, behind me is the corporal works of mercy, feeding the hungry, give drink to the thirsty, clothe the naked, shelter the homeless, care for the sick, visit the imprisoned, bury the dead. Um, I guess there's just so many things that we could do. So anyway, just wanted to share with you maybe some ideas that you could adopt as spiritual practices for Lent, and just take it to prayer and let God put something on your heart. God bless.